So, Pete and I have gotten together to give you some knowledge about color order AC. Uh, this is the third Croquet Innovations tournament that I have been involved in. Before we turn to the game itself, color order AC, I'd like to answer the question, why bother innovating? Isn't croquet difficult enough as it is? Aren't there enough variations as they are? Uh, and my view is that games always evolve, and hopefully for the better. I can give you examples where baseball today is trying out a new time pitch. Uh, Basketball, remember the days when there were no 3-point plays? Do we think adding the third point possibility improved the game? I think it did. Football, you no longer have a very, very short point after, but it becomes more interesting when you can miss that. So, no one's required to play color order AC, but I think we can show you that in and of itself it's interesting. But secondly, playing it will improve your skills. So with that said, let's turn to color order AC. All right, so this is a normal stake or peg, depending on which continent you're on. And we know that the color order is blue, red, black, and yellow. The American game uses that to determine who's striker. We don't. So this game of color order AC allows you to pick any ball to be striker. What gets interesting is when that ball hits another one, roquets or rushes it. Let's presume that blue-black decide to play blue. Okay? He could hit red, black, or yellow in any order, okay, as his first ball, what we would call the reception ball. And in the traditional game, if blue hits black, he could then go to red or to yellow and go make his hoop. He doesn't have to use all three balls. He can use one in a 2-ball break, 2 in a 3-ball break, and 3 in a 4-ball break. The difference here in color order AC is the first ball he hits determines the order of the second and third balls. So if blue, as striker, hits red, perfectly fine. If he wants to go to another ball, he has to go to black. And then after black, he has to go to yellow. Let's suppose blue instead hits black, perfectly fine. You can start with any ball. He then goes to yellow if he wants to, and up to red. And finally, if blue hits yellow, he can then go to red and black. But if blue hits black, he cannot go to red. Okay? Not until after yellow. That's the major change in this game. That's the color order aspect of color order AC. And we'll show you how that impacts break play, and then we'll show you how it impacts peeling. So the one thing to think about is if you're familiar with peeling, you're putting another ball, usually partner, through his hoop and continuing your own break at the same time. After you do the peel on partner, you usually go to what we call an escape ball. And in the traditional game, if black is striker and he's peeling blue, he can have either red or yellow as his escape ball. That's not true in this game. So once again, if black is taken out, he's the striker, and he peels blue, he must go to red. He cannot go to yellow, because you must play in color order, okay? So instead of having 2 possible escape balls, you only have 1. And so maneuvering both the peelee and the escape ball to appropriate positions for peeling is one of the joys and fun of this game. All right, let's now go to break play. All right, here we are at hoop 1. All the clips are on R for 1. We're going to have blue be striker, and he's in position to make hoop 1. There are 3 balls out here. Please show red, black, and yellow. And the first ball that striker hits is the reception ball. Okay? So go ahead, Pete, make the hoop. Thank you. Picks up his clip and hits the reception ball. So we'll stop there for a second as Pete puts blue in contact. Now, if you were playing the traditional game, what would you do with red?
The usual thing in normal AC would be to put this ball to hoop 3. But in this case, if I did that...
Well, let's do it.
Oh.
Let's actually do it, okay? And we'll show them what happens. So Pete does a nice little stop shot, sends red on his way toward 3. Black then is the pivot ball, and he'll put the pivot ball back to pivot ball position. So watch that, please. Okay. He'll go to the pioneer ball, the 3rd ball yellow, and croquet him to reception. So the 3 roles of the balls, functions as we call them, reception, pivot, and pioneer, are reestablished. Okay, let's stop there for 1 minute, Pete. Okay? If Pete were to continue playing a traditional game, he could do that again. He could tap yellow. No, it's not. We won't do it. He could tap yellow, send it to 4, okay? Go to black, move him again as pivot, and go to red, okay? Pete, go ahead and do that much. Send that and go to black. Okay. Okay, so it's perfectly fine, but we'll stop here and pretend we're now, but assume now that we're playing color order. Okay? All we've done so far is perfectly fine. We followed a procedure to get from 1 to 2 called the traditional AC procedure, TAC, because he sent the reception ball to pioneer, he left the pivot as pivot, and he took the pioneer and sent it to reception. That's what you do. You know, you may not call it that, but in fact, that's what you do over and over and over again in a traditional game. We then tried to do it again at from hoop 2 to hoop 2, setting up for hoop 3, and we've reached this situation. We sent the reception ball to pioneer, okay? And now we went to what functionally is the pivot ball, black, and we can't hit him. Why can't we hit him, Pete?
Because I can't hit black until I've used red. Having used yellow, I'd need to either make a hoop immediately or I need to make use of red. I can't make use of black yet.
So let's go back to the stake. Yellow was played first. He has to go to red and then to black. He can't go to black immediately. That is a big change. Let's go back and put the balls and see if we can solve that problem. All right, so we've gone back to our starting position and said, well, if we follow the traditional way of sending reception to pioneer, we run into some trouble. There's a way to fix it, which we'll come back to in about a minute. But is there a way to not get into trouble immediately? Pete, go ahead and do it, and then we'll explain it. So Pete makes the hoop, touches red. It's the first ball, therefore it is the reception ball. But this time, instead of sending him to pioneer, he's going to send reception to pivot, one functional step forward. He's going to send pivot to pioneer, also one functional step forward. So if you think of the three functions as reception, pivot, pioneer, and you think of them as a loop, then these are all going to go one functional step forward. He then goes to the pioneer. And here we are in what my friends have kindly nicknamed Howard's favorite position. Okay, now notice that if Pete now makes the hoop, go ahead, and goes to yellow, he doesn't have to, but he would. He is in color order. So let's go back here to the peg. Pete can hit yellow and then go to red. Well, notice, turn around here, please. Don't step on the ball, but I want you to show the red ball. Okay? Red is in pivot. So go ahead, Pete. Careful. Careful. Okay? So once again, reception will go to pivot. Okay. He's going to rush red and then send him to pioneer. So pivot to pioneer. So red will be sent to hoop 4. And Pete will rush the pioneer, send him to reception. Once again, each ball is advanced one functional step. Reception to pivot, pivot to pioneer, and pioneer to reception. All right, Pete, please do that one more time. We call that the standard procedure. So you've met two of our procedures. The traditional procedure, which you know and love, and we're introducing you to the standard procedure, okay? And this, with the standard procedure, the balls stay in color order. And you'll see that not only do they stay in color order, but after 3 hoops, when we are in Howard's favorite position at hoop 4, they'll be in the same physical color order they were when we started. So this game has a 3-hoop cycle, whereas the traditional game is thought of as a 2-hoop cycle. So when Pete gets to Howard's favorite position, we'll stop. And if you remember, which you may not, but when we started, red at 1 was the reception ball. Black was the pivot, and yellow was the pioneer. Well, 3 hoops later, here we are at hoop 4, and with red as reception, black as pivot, and yellow as pioneer. So using the standard procedure, which is what we call this, has nice advantages of maintaining color order and repeating the identical colors every 3 hoops. Now, let's go back to hoop 1. We're going to do an expedite, then we're going to do a repeat, Pete, all right? Oh, just an expedite first. So we're resetting the balls. Hopefully that's not a bad pioneer for Pete. That okay, Pete, or you want me to set yellow better? Okay. Pete says that's...
Yeah,
that's fine. That's fine. So Pete's going to set it up so you can best see it. All right, so we are back again at hoop 1. We've left the starting color order the same. We could have rotated it. So we could have had black as pivot, black as reception, okay, yellow as pivot, and red as pioneer. And if you follow the circle on the peg, we'd be in color order again. But this time, we would like to advance the color, the functional steps, not 1, which is what the standard did, but 2. So we call that the expedite procedure. With the expedite procedure, the first ball we hit is still reception, and we're going to send him 2 hoops forward. So from reception through pivot to pioneer goes red. Okay, now we are at the pivot ball. 2 hoops forward will send him to reception at hoop 2. So notice in the thing you're most used to, the traditional, he would stay pivot. But we're going to send him to reception. Then we're going to go to yellow, but since black is reception, we want to hit him first. We're going to send yellow from pioneer, not to reception, but to pivot. This is done with a load and hold. A load and hold occurs anytime the ball you last hit, in this case yellow, is not the first hoop you will hit after coming through the hoop. So let's stop there, and we see that we have reestablished the color order with black, yellow, and red, and Pete could continue from there. Let's go back to hoop 1 one more time and show the repeat. You ready? Okay, so we've put the balls back in the starting position. We've showed you how to advance each ball 1 function. That was a standard. We showed you how to advance each ball 2 functions. That was expedite. And now we're going to show you the possibility of advancing it 3. So Pete makes the hoop. He's going to tap red. Red is reception. Well, 3 functions forward would put red back at reception. So he's going to send red just beyond hoop 2. And he's going to go to black, which is the next ball in color order. Black is pivot. He's going to send black from pivot to pivot. And he's going to go to yellow. Now the trick is that he needs to send yellow from pioneer to pioneer, 3 functions forward. So we'd really like him to be the pioneer at hoop 3. It's not hard to get yellow to be the pioneer. The trick is getting blue to go in front of the hoop. This again is a load and hold. The ball he last hits before the hoop, yellow, will not be the ball he hits after. So let's stop there, Pete, okay? Which he hopes to be. No. Put it back, because I want to show them Pete did a load and hold. Now, he may be able to make this hoop, but I kind of doubt it. And so that's because this was a long load and hold. That happens in this game, but you can time, if you need to repeat, move balls 3 functions forward, this may not be the best time to do it. If not, you could continue with a standard and then do the repeat or their equivalents to that, which we're not going to get into in the video, but you'll see the people play. So timing, you saw with the expedite, it's usually a very short load and hold. Okay, the load and hold with a repeat can be quite long. The easiest time, Pete, when's the easiest time to do the repeat?
Well, when the hoops are closer together, so for instance, if you're making 4 and you're coming up to 5, or 6 to 1 back, or 4 back to penult.
So knowing that influences how you distribute or decide what to do. All right, I want to do one more break play item. I want to go back one more time, do TAC and 3 fix. So we are back at hoop 1 for one more break play demonstration before we move on to peeling. So Pete's going to make this hoop and once again follow the traditional formula, what we call the TAC, traditional AC procedure. He's going to roquet red. That's the reception ball. He's going to move it 2 functions forward to pioneer at 3. Going to go to the pivot ball black. Okay, he's going to leave him as pivot and go to the pioneer ball yellow. And tap it and croquet it to reception. Once again, that's what you're most used to seeing. So let's stop there for a second, Pete. When we got to this position the last time, which was our first demonstration, we showed you that blue makes the hoop, touches yellow, establishes color order as yellow, red, black, that we then look out on the lawn, okay, and you'll see if he goes yellow, it's a lot easier. If he goes to black, he can't play black. It's out of color order. So the question is, how can we fix this situation? Pete, what are we going to do?
We're going to do what's called a 3 fix, so we're just going to play a 3-ball break, ignoring the ball in the middle for one hoop.
So in color order, you don't have to use all the balls. And that turns out to be very convenient, as Pete will show you. Okay, he makes the hoop. Rushes yellow a little bit. And he's now going to send yellow from reception to pioneer. As he goes to red. That's the color order, right? Yellow, red, black. But nothing says he has to go to black. So he will make, or set up in Howard's favorite position. And we'll stop there, Pete. Okay? So if you see Pete makes this hoop, he can go red and then black near the peg. Point at this, please. And then to yellow. So if you get out of color order, you can reestablish it frequently with a 3 fix procedure. And you'll see that used a lot. Okay, let's stop here and set up a peeling situation. So this time we have black as striker. Obviously, any ball can be striker. But, and in our book, we often have blue run the first break and black, his partner, peel blue during the second break. So we're in the second break. We could have gotten here from a diagonal, from any of the leaves.
Helicopters. Yeah. Helicopters.
Yes. Any of the leaves that are available in the traditional game are also available here. Let's suppose now, though, that black started the break. Blue is for 4 back. Okay, so blue ran 9, set a diagonal, set a new standard, set an old standard. Doesn't matter. Okay, black gets in and completes 4 hoops and is in Howard's favorite position at hoop 5. He's about to make hoop 5, and his goal is to peel blue, if you go show up there please, at 4 back and escape with red. So in making those 4 hoops, he got to this position. All right, Pete, let's do it. He makes the hoop, and he's going to establish yellow as reception. Now the question is, it looks pretty easy in color order, right? You go yellow, blue, red. You go yellow, blue, red, and get the peel done. But Pete's thinking ahead. What happens if the peel fails? So what he does is he's going to follow the repeat procedure and not a standard procedure, which could have also accomplished the peel. And we'll see why in a minute. Now, Pete's pretty good at this. I expect him to get the peel, which of course he does. Okay, and now he will use red, which is the only escape ball, against blue. It's the after partner ball, and he's going to get to here. Let's stop for a second here, Pete. Okay. Now remember, when we did the repeat, it had a load and hold. So Pete is going to load and hold this somewhere, okay, because the last ball he's going to use to make 6 is going to be red, but the first ball he's going to use afterwards is going to be yellow. So let's first put it over there as if you got the peel. Okay? So notice we're in Howard's favorite position. We can make the hoop go yellow, blue, and red. Why don't we do that and send blue down to 2 back as the pioneer, and then we'll go back and fail after that. So Pete makes this hoop, goes to the reception ball yellow, okay, and now he's going to follow a standard procedure. The standard procedure will advance each ball 1 function. So the yellow is the reception. Yellow will now go to pivot. He'll go to blue in color order. Nicely gets the rush on blue, which he'll send behind red. Blue is the pivot. He needs to go to pioneer at 8. And he will go to the pioneer ball, red, and send him to reception, and we'll stop there and go back and do the peel one more time, failing, and then we'll go play some croquet. Okay, so let's stop right here. This is a pretty standard position in an AC game. You've completed the 4-back peel, you're in a delayed triple. You make the peel, and then you send the peelee down to 8, and you'll come back and attempt a standard a delayed double. All right, so here we are back at hoop 5. We've set up for the peel. We saw Pete complete it with no effort other than normal. And we saw him then set up for the Penalton Rover peels, or standard position 4. This time, he's going to intentionally, because I asked him to, he's going to fail on this peel. So he's still doing a repeat. He's sending yellow from reception to reception. Blue is going to go from pivot to pivot whether he gets the peel or not. It still changes its function. And just don't make it, Pete. I know it's hard, but have it clunk off. Practice failure, Pete. Well, that's too good because you left it in rush peel position. I'll help you. I'm better at failure than you are. Okay, now, okay. He still needs to make hoop 6. He wants to continue his break. Okay, he would like to continue trying this peel. The next attempt could be on the way to 7, and we want to set it up so that's what he gets. So what do we do, Pete? Okay. So we're sending Pioneer to Pioneer, i.e. to escape ball this time. Can you get there? Yeah, you can. Okay, so this is the load and hold. And it's, yes, very nice. Okay, so here we are. Okay, and Pete, you want to continue and try it again? That's fine. Or you want to stop here? That's fine. I think this is enough. So what Pete could now do is use another repeat procedure. Go to yellow, rush it over to the east, send yellow to reception, from reception to reception at 7, go to blue, adjust him and peel him, escape with red. If he gets the peel then, he still would use the repeat procedure because it helps him get to 8 and continue. Okay, but so the repeat procedure is very, very valuable for peeling. But as we saw earlier, when Pete tried to do the repeat at hoop 2 to hoop 3, the load and hold can get very risky. And here in this game, you'll see that after Pete tries the peel on the way to 7, which is what he would do next, if that fails, he can do a load and hold and try it on the way to 8. But he cannot do a load and hold and try it then after on the way to 9, which gets us to one of the final key rules of the color order game we're about to see. And that is that in addition to playing the balls in color order, okay, the front ball of both teams has to be peeled at 4-back. You have to do a peel. Now, if your opponents happen to want to peel you through, that's fine, and that relieves you and them, of a peel of another ball. But typically, what will happen is that if black is playing, he'll get the peel done, before 4-back. But it can get tense, and the closer he gets to not getting it done, you start the break late or just fail. The long conditions aren't very good. You could, in fact, get to the point where you can't get the 4-back peel done before you make 4-back with your back ball, but you can't make 4-back in this game unless you've peeled. So that's the tension of the game, which leads to very interesting straight doubles and straight triples, but more on all of that as we watch the game. Mr. Trimmer, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.